Hell is empty and all the devils are here. While William Shakespeare was actually critical of the state of humanity, that adage fits incredibly well with id Software's Doom franchise. The series had recently been resurrected for the Xbox One, PS4, and PC, with the closed beta for multiplayer having concluded and an open beta scheduled for April 15th. It's interesting to witness the evolution of Doom since the first game released in 1993. In many ways, the franchise has come full circle. The first Doom wasn't meant to be Space Marines fighting against the demons of hell. id Software had plans to license the Aliens franchise from 20th Century Fox, but eventually backed out for more creative freedom and ideas. Because what could go wrong with an FPS based on aliens? Doom would be following up on Wolfenstein 3D, incorporating a Dungeons & Dragons campaign held by the developer, aligned by Tom Cruise's character in The Color of Money, and the complete disregard of the Doom Bible by creative director Tom Hall for fast and unrelenting demon-slaying action. John Carmack, John Romero, Adrian Carmack, Kevin Cloud, Tom Hall, Robert Prince, and Sandy Peterson are most credited for what would be Doom. However, the engine was crafted primarily by John Carmack in isolation, all in an effort to create the next generation of video game graphics. Tom Hall would conceive of Doom as a more story-oriented title with multiple playable characters, and while the franchise kept many of the ideas in his Doom Bible, the overall change in direction led to his resignation from id Software in 1993. Doom was a massive hit though for a multitude of reasons. It was simply the premier first-person shooter of the time, mixing extreme violence with demonic imagery, excellent level design, 3D graphics, and fast gunplay. It also pioneered the era of network play and modifications to the core experience. Doom 2 Hell on Earth released in 1994, and it wasn't an extensive follow-up to the original. What it lacked in innovation, it made up for in an expansive level design filled with more monsters, better 3D graphics, and a singular episode encompassing the experience as opposed to multiple episodes. Multiplayer was also significantly improved. We were still a ways off from refined matchmaking algorithms. In this age of dial-up, you had to manually connect to another player's computer for either co-op or deathmatch, but it was still revolutionary for its time. After Doom 2, id Software would go through a number of different changes. Final Doom arrived in 1996 and featured 2 new episodes with multiple levels by non-id map creators, namely the Casali brothers and Ty Halderman. The developer would focus more on the Quake franchise from 1997 onwards before undergoing its own internal upheaval. John Romero would leave the company for a variety of reasons, founding Ion Storm and developing the now infamous Daikatana. John Carmack's value at id Software skyrocketed in the meantime, which led to the programmer wanting to remake Doom in 2000 to the chagrin of owners Adrian Carmack and Kevin Cloud. What came next wasn't necessarily a remake, instead it was Doom 3. Released in 2004, Doom 3 introduced id Tech 4 and the next generation of graphics technology from id. Despite the traditional classic gameplay, Doom 3 had taken a more survival horror-oriented presentation with its lighting, aesthetic, and realism. There were still demons to kill, but the story was more front and center than ever, and it was eminently forgettable. At least it had that live-action film starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson though, right? No, seriously, don't watch that film. It's terrible. Doom 3 was highly successful for id Software and would motivate the release of Resurrection of Evil in 2005, which featured new single-player levels, a new story campaign, new weapons, including a gravity gun copycat with the Grabber, new multiplayer maps, and more. It actually came from Nerve Software as opposed to id. It's amazing to consider that the pioneer of FPS games and multiplayer in shooters would have no major projects until 2011 with Rage. The studio was acquired by ZeniMax Media, parent company of Bethesda Softworks, in 2009 and seemed fairly behind the times. Doom 3 BFG Edition released in 2012 for the previous generation of consoles, but saw a middling critical response. And the current Doom? Hilariously enough, Doom 4, as it was originally called, was hinted at as far back as 2008. The years went by with seemingly no updates, and by 2013, Doom 4 was judged to be in development hell, with development starting from scratch in 2011. John Carmack even left in 2013 to focus more on Oculus VR. The developer finally got its act together and revealed Doom, intended as a reboot of the franchise while going back to its roots at E3 2015. It's hard to believe, but we're now roughly a month away from its release on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. The game's suitably rock and roll approach and natural affinity to violence has, for better or worse, been maintained. Old school weapons like the double-barrel shotgun and BFG 9000 collide with new execution-style melee moves, double jumping, gorgeous visuals courtesy of id Tech 6, new multiplayer modes like Freeze Tag and Moving King of the Hill, and much more. Whether you're a fan of the visceral carnage and bloodshed or not, there's no denying the influence that Doom has had on the industry. Will you be picking up Doom when it launches on May 13th? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.